Good morning, everyone. Let's get this show on the road. I am Lisa Goldberg, and I'm here for Genera Australia, this amazing project that I'm so proud to be part of. And I'm really excited and thrilled and so happy to be here with my very good friend, Gaz, or Gary Horwitz. And some of you watched last time when Gary was here and I did the full intro and interview. You should actually go and find that on the Genera website so you can hear all about Gary's amazing and interesting life. But today we're actually just talking about food. Just quickly about Gaz, I want to tell you he's one of the best cooks that I know, if not the best. Ooh. And I'm lucky enough to call him a friend and lucky enough to come here for lunch from time to time. And when you come here for lunch, it is a spread like you have never seen in your life. You know, he would do all of these and put them out. Then he'd have a turkey and a chicken, and then he'll have 15 sides, plus fried this and fried that, plus a risotto that is whipped up. You know, he's just one of those amazing cooks. So let's get started. We're doing barbecue today. Unfortunately, in Sydney, the weather is not barbecuing weather.
No, not perfect. We've rained the full morning. We've got gusty winds and the temperature's below 16 degrees. But otherwise, you know what, that's what makes the barbecue more interesting.
And I think the lesson from that is no matter what the weather is, you can go out and barbecue, right? Okay. That's what we're showing you. I've got my sunglasses in case it gets sunny, and we've got the beautiful meat, and you know, we're going to show you what we've done even in the rain. So today our meat is from the local butcher, which happens to be Field to Fork, which happens to be owned by Gaz's wife, Paula Horwitz. And it is such a fantastic shop. It's worth going. There's one branch in Vaucluse and there's one in Bondi, and they have amazing meat and many other things. So let's start. We're barbecuing beef today. Tell us what we got.
Well, Lisa, I have picked today probably my 4 favorite cuts. There's actually 5 cuts here, although you can only see 4. There's a secret behind that, which we'll come to, and I'm sure if Michael Leibovitz is watching, he may be able to guess, or anybody that eats a lot of meat. Our 4 cuts today are really what we go from our budget cut, although if you get a good piece of rump, we're going to talk about each piece of meat, and then we're going to get to the barbecue. The rump comes from the rear of the animal, and each of the different cuts, actually, I'll describe to you why they taste and why they actually have the texture, because it depends on how the animal uses that muscle or that part of the beast. The rump comes from the back. It's quite a hard-working part of the animal, and we get this cut, which is cut in a round piece. It's called a rump. Great for grilling, great for steaks. We're not cooking it today, but I and my dad used to love rump if you get good quality rump. Middle piece is an Aussie favorite. It's the Scotch fillet, or known as the cube roll. That's about a 300 piece of Scotchie. Normally a ribeye on the bone is the same, which is another famous cut. This is without the bone. Lots of beautiful grain through it, lots of beautiful fat through it. That when it cooks, it renders and it moves through the entire piece. Yeah. One of Australia's favorite pieces of meat. Also around the world, they call it cube roll. They'll call it fillet in some countries. The next piece is the king's piece. It's royalty. It comes from the middle of the animal. It's the eye fillet. Not the Scotch fillet like this, the eye fillet. And the eye fillet, Lisa, does no work at all. It sits below the ribs of the animal, protected its entire life. And when the beasts are slaughtered, you get the softest piece of meat. The only difference between a really good piece or excellent piece of eye fillet and an average piece is what it's fed on. If it's had 240, 250, 260 days worth of grain or full grass, you'll get a beautiful piece like you're going to get today. One of my nicest cuts, I've got lots of friends that just want to eat fillet all the time. Yeah. I'll find the flavors there, but I like it with a peppercorn sauce, which we're going to make today. I don't mind it with a mushroom sauce, but there are a lot of restaurants in the city that still make it with the old beautiful béarnaise. We've got a homemade béarnaise. We'll take you through the process of that. That sits beautifully on a fillet as well. Yeah. But this is
really what we're here for.
This is what we're here for today.
This is why we got up this morning for this steak.
This is known as the bistecca. Now, the bistecca, original bistecca, as everybody should know, comes from Florence, from the cow called the Fiorentina. It's a white cow, white in color, and it's a beautiful grass-fed cow that goes all over Italy. And when you get to Italy and you walk into any of the great trattorias or the great restaurants, or you order bistecca, you will get the sirloin on the side, and you can see the sirloin sits in that part up to the T-bone, the side of the fillet. So that's why I said to you, that's our 5th piece there, you see, because that's the fillet on the T-bone, and this is the sirloin. Now this is an incredible piece of meat, and I'll tell you where it's from. It's called black onyx, and it comes from northern New South Wales. It's 270 days of grain. It's a big animal. Most of it's exported. It's almost a 5+ Wagyu. So you can see that beautiful fat running through that. And we will show you how beautiful this meat is. If you can get something like this and serve it at a dinner party and cut it into off the bone in 3 or 4 portions with some nice sides, absolutely excellent.
But the bone's for me, always.
Always for you, Lisa. Always keep the bone for you.
So fat is flavor, right?
Fat is flavor.
So, which is why for I feel like you really want to have a sauce, or even just mustard, because it needs just that little bit more flavor. But these are just on their own amazing.
Absolutely. You could eat any of these on your own. And traditionally, you know, you would have it with salt and pepper, some olive oil, some lemon, and then you've got the Café de Paris butters. I'm not a big fan of the Café de Paris butters. I prefer mustard or horseradish. But we've grown up eating steak with mushroom sauce, steak with pepper sauce, and I love a béarnaise with chips as well. So, you know, we've all got our favorites. We're going to show you all of them today, and we hope you enjoy this journey. Lots of questions. Please keep asking. And for those of you that are scared of grilling or scared of barbecuing meat, you don't have to be, because we'll show you how to test when it's medium well, or rare, how much time it takes, how to cope with the flames, and why these different cuts do take different elements on the barbecue as to how long they cook for and where you place them on the barbecue. You're going to learn about that today. We're only going to cook 2 pieces.
Would you say that this is more forgiving? The fatty ones are more forgiving to cook than the one without fat. Like if you overcook that, it's terrible. Yeah,
it's dry and rubbish.
Whereas this, you've got a little bit more room to move.
Yeah.
And can you also talk later about how important resting is? I think you believe in resting.
You've got to rest it. You've got to let the animal settle. And what's important today is, I just wanted to kick off and show you what we're going to teach you today. You can see that piece of meat is absolutely raw. It's come to room temperature. I took it out 2 hours ago. So always do that, excuse you, with your meats, because you don't want them ice cold. It'll take too long to cook. And then, Lisa, when you push that down on the animal, you can feel it's soft as anything. Now, as we cook that, it'll become firmer and firmer and firmer. So when you get to cook it, the first time you feel it, you'll know it's rare. Yeah. As it cooks the next few minutes, it will get to medium rare to medium. And you'll find that if you get good at it, you can actually feel a piece of meat without using a thermometer, unless you want to use a thermometer. And then we can talk about 54 to 60 degrees in temperatures to get you to the right.
Do you ever use a thermometer?
I don't, because I've cooked all my life like this. And
so you know by feel.
I know by the temperature of the fire, whether I'm cooking with coals or with gas or on the stove in a pan. So
I don't use the thermometer, the internal measuring one, but I guess a lot of the time when I'm cooking on the barbecue, is it cooked, is it not, and hope that I get it right.
Yeah, or you can just get a meat thermometer, and these meat thermometers actually tell you at what temperature, say at 52 degrees, that it's medium. It tells you that when it gets more well done. You can just pop that in while it's cooking. It's really easy to get one of these. If you're nervous, keep a meat thermometer. Good for roasts.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, so shall we get cooking? Where do we start?
We're going to take our T-bone.
I just want to tell you all one thing. This morning, I'm going to be moving we're filming on a laptop. I'm going to be moving you around. So just bear with me as I move you around and you see my face, you know, best I can.
We're going to take just salt and pepper with us, the T-bone and the fillet. That's all we're cooking today. Come with us. We're going to go to the barbecue.
We're not leaving you. I'm just walking around the bench to get the computer. See, haven't left you at all. I'm here. So you'll have to bear with me.
It's raining outside, Lisa, so my hair may get
it's rain. Yeah, beautiful. You'll see the weather in a minute when I put the computer there. It's a beautiful rainy day. All right. So here we are outside.
It is raining. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to season up both the T-bone and the fillet with salt and pepper on both sides. As you can see, to get a good cracked salt in it, or some kosher salt, and the same with the pepper. Just both sides of it going on. Then I'm only going to put the T-bone on to start because it'll take a lot longer to cook than the fillet. So we'll come back to the fillet. So I've done that side. Barbecue's at the hottest it can get to.
How long's it been on?
Oh, it's been on for about 45 minutes, Lisa. And I'm just going to turn it on the side, which I've salted, and I'm going to come back and do that side now. And the pepper.
Oh,
and then we're going to, it looks amazing, huh? And no oil. I never put oil on any meat, and neither do some of the better chefs in the world. But if you ever feel like it's going to stick and you're nervous, a little bit of oil, but it'll get it to flame. We'll step back now. We can talk, Lee, so we can keep it filming. So if we just, So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for about 5 to 7 minutes. We're going to stand by because,
oh, you don't want to stand in the rain.
No, finally. So
I want him to stand in the rain.
Soaking and get a cold and flu, and then won't talk to you anymore. But this particular piece of meat needs to sit here for about 5 to 7 minutes before we do the first turn. We're sealing it. We're stopping the juices from coming out.
Yeah,
You
it
can
smells
see
really good.
Smells
This
really
is where
good.
we
It's got
need
nice-
smell-o-vision, actually.
Yeah, this is where it smells really
And
good.
are you ready to put the eye fillet on or not yet?
Not yet,
You're
Lisa.
going
I'm
to
going to
wait.
do both sides of this. So bistecca traditionally in Italy is cooked over a wood fire. If we had those, like to cook it over wood fire. And the beautiful thing is that it's got lots of fat. So
Do you
you
want
see
to come
lots.
out of the rain? I
Yeah,
feel
I'm
bad.
all right. You'll see lots of fat on a good piece of bistecca, but that's good because it draws the flames and it enhances the flavor and it moves through the meat to soften it. And traditionally, you would get one of these to share for 3 or 4 people at the table. They only serve it rare. We're probably going to do it more on the medium rare side. Rare is a bit too blue for a lot of Australians, but I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity of eating it in Italy. It's spectacular and it's always done rare with lemon and olive oil, the way we'll do it traditionally today.
Beautiful. Okay, so Venetia's asked whether you sous vide your meat.
Never
ever.
sous vide meat.
Yeah.
Sous vide is a new form of cooking that's come through in the last decade. It's great. It can be done. A lot of caterers do sous vide. It cuts out the risk. It's easy to time. Nothing wrong with sous vide. I don't do it, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to show everybody with this steak. He's not fiddling with it. I think the mistake we all make, I mean, I know I do, is that I want to like fiddle with it. I want to like turn it and move it. And the important thing here, correct me if I'm wrong, Gaz, is you need to form a crust underneath.
Yes, you have to seal it.
And you need to let it form its crust. The same when you cook fish on the barbecue. Don't turn it too early or it will stick.
Yeah, and I'm looking also, Lisa, for this beautiful bars, which I'm going to get from the grill.
You see?
Now, each one of these bars is going to do a line on my steak.
Yeah.
So I want that to form that crust, and then I'm going to turn it and do what's called the crossword, which you'll see why it's called the crossword. But it's lovely in the rain here today. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you're all nice and dry, but it's fine. We love to barbecue.
Okay, so that's great.
Let's just get that out of there for a moment.
Okay, all right. So do you want to go back to do the sauces, or do we?
Yeah, let's do that. What we'll do is let's just tell the audience a few more things about what we're doing, and then we're going to shoot inside.
Okay, question from Haviva. Do you ever place marinade on the meat before you cook it?
I'm naughty. I like to put a monkey gland marinade on or some sort of steak sauce sometimes, particularly on lamb. With a T-bone, never, and with fillet, never. But with a piece of rump, you can marinate it with some, tomato sauce, a little bit of Coca-Cola through it, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, a bit of chutney, and then you just baste it on both sides. Gives you a bit of a sweet flavor, but a lot of people love it, and a lot of steakhouses do have an in-house marinade that they'll use on the cheaper cuts.
I say this with respect, but is Coca-Cola a South African sort of thing?
Very much. Very much.
Yeah. Because I guess it's the sugar that you want from it, right?
So what we're going to do now, we're just going to pick the steak up. And I'm going to show everybody. You see, we've got those lines there that came from the steak. We're going to turn it on the diagonal, so 45 degrees,
okay,
and we're going to get this. We're going to get it running the other way. Let's pop inside for a moment.
It's raining.
Very good question on the marinade.
I'm going to take you inside.
Yep.
Okay, so Denise says she only sears for 1 minute each side, and it locks in the juices.
That can be done. Absolutely right.
Okay, just taking you with me. Hope you don't mind this. And we've got station number 3 over here, which is the stove, the cooktop. So here's Gaz on the cooktop.
So what we're going to do today is show you how to make mushroom sauce and pepper sauce. Now, both have got cream in them. The pepper sauce is our old favorite because it's green peppercorns traditionally, a bit of black peppercorn through it, a little bit of salt, but it gets a brandy or a whiskey. And I prefer whiskey through it. Brings out the flavor of the peppercorn, and it's a rich, somewhat spicy, but gives the meat that intense that you need. Mushrooms, on the other hand, a lot of families love a mushroom sauce. Really easy to eat, Lisa, and nice with burgers, nice with minute steaks, and nice with any, really with any cut. So we'll see both here. We just got a little bit of butter. If you don't eat butter, you can put olive oil in. Butter is really good for mushrooms and peppercorn because it brings out the flavor.
So for the people that don't want to mix meat and milk, would you use olive oil?
I'd use olive oil, and then I'd use olive oil, definitely an olive oil, not a strong olive oil, just a normal olive oil, not a virgin.
Yeah.
And then I'd use a stock, and I wouldn't go with the cream. And you can get a brown stock to bring out those flavors. And that's why you see a lot of sauces which have got, the stock in it being a brown mushroom sauce or a brown pepper sauce. Cream, on the other hand, is the better ingredient, but if you don't eat it, there's no problem.
Yeah. That's good to know. Okay, any more questions, please ask while we're standing here and cooking. Very happy to ask questions.
Yeah,
and I'll move you over in a second to the close up.
So we've got our butter in the bottom of the pan, Lisa. And what we've got going at the moment is these are Madagascan peppercorns. A lot of the really good peppercorns came from Madagascar. Very few places got it. They're nice, soft. They're green. I'm sure you've seen them before.
Where do we buy these?
Field to Fork.
There you go.
Field to Fork, or the good grocers have got them. The good delicatessens have got them. They're really special.
They're called green peppercorns in its natural stage.
Yep.
And they look like that.
And can you pop those in there for me? And we're going to let those cook through for about 2 minutes. And our mushrooms do exactly the same. They go into this pan over here. We do exactly the same with them. We're going to get some salt and pepper in both.
Sorry about the moving. I'm just trying to get you in a good spot. Is that all right? Oh. Okay, that's great.
Okay, you can see that's going nicely now.
Okay, any questions? Please ask. So in here we've got butter and peppercorns.
Yeah, and we're just going to squash them a little bit and make sure they're getting nice and soft. And we're going to bring our
Would
whiskey.
you ever do this with dried black peppercorns?
You could, but you're going to see the intensity of the green peppercorn.
Yeah.
It's very special.
Okay, and in the other pan we have got mushrooms and butter.
Yeah.
All good things so far.
Very good. Nice, beautiful buttered mushrooms, just sliced, tossed into the butter. Let them coat a little bit of the butter, and we'll then add the cream, salt and pepper. This, you're going to get the whiskey very soon. Starting to pop. They're ready, Lise.
See, did you see that? Just popping out of the pan all over my
You might have to
laptop.
grab onto your computer because I don't want to catch it a lot.
Oh, here we go. Okay, moving back here.
This method is called flambe, and the reason is you throw the alcohol into the food that you're cooking, and you want to reduce the alcohol content of it, leave the flavor. So we'll put a little bit of whiskey. We might get the fan going here.
Ready?
In case we don't want to. So we put a little bit of whiskey in. So we'll bring that to the flambe. We'll move that through the pan. We don't want to lose all the alcohol. Now we're going to add the cream. Have a look at that.
I'm just so not going to be brave enough to do that.
You would do that easily.
Really?
Danny would let you.
Oh,
Right?
burn my kitchen down. Okay, so Denise says, do you...
I'm going to leave that with you, and I'm just going to go turn that meat over. If that's okay, Lisa.
Okay, so Denise says, do you lower the temperature in the barbecue? Also, why don't you close the barbecue? We'll answer that. And I'll just stand here and pretend that I know what I'm doing. So that's all right. So this smells beautiful, this peppercorn and cream and mushrooms and butter.
We don't close the barbecue only because we're sealing both edges. Once I've done both edges, then I roast it.
Okay, did you hear that?
So when you close the barbecue down, you're getting to more of a roast and an internal temperature. What I'm trying to do is just seal the outside with as much heat as possible. Once that heat's on the outside, then I pull down the lid, which you'll see when we go back outside. So I've sealed both sides.
And do you use heavy cream? Well, here he's
Yes,
just used pure
pouring
cream. But if you have heavy cream, it will be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, David says, what time is lunch served? David, we'll see you at 12.
Yeah. Come for lunch, Dad.
Okay, any more questions? Happy to answer. So we've got the sauces
Just
cooking.
going to turn that down, let that simmer. We're going back to the barbecue. Lisa, watch this.
Am I taking you back now?
Taking you back there. That's just going to simmer through.
Oh, you want me to watch this?
No, we're going to go.
We're going to go.
Turn the cream down. It's just simmering. We're going to add the cream now to the mushroom sauce. And let that come up to the boil, and then we're going to just turn it down. So they're both just going to simmer here and reduce. And when it reduces, as you can see, the steam's coming out, the sauce is getting thicker, and the flavors are being intense. We'll be back to see you both. Be good.
Okay, let's go outside again.
Outside again. How interesting is walking
I know. It'd be good to get your feedback on whether this is sort of annoying for you to walk back and forth and whether you find it, disconcerting, irritating, making you dizzy or whatever, or it's okay. Like, let us know. We'd love some feedback.
The other side, we've got the we're gonna open up we're gonna take a piece of fillet now. That's going on as well. Put that in a nice place there. Can you bring I just want to show people how it's done it. That's the long fillet down on its side, and you can see our T-bone's been turned. Remember, we had it facing that way first, and then we turned it the other way. So we've got this beautiful crossword crisscross on it.
Amazing.
Now that's going to go that way for another 3 or 4 minutes. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to close the lid and let it go for about 10 minutes, Lise. 8 minutes. Our fillet's on now.
Okay, tell me how long the fillet's on for.
The fillet will go about a total. I don't want to do more than 8 to 10 minutes for that fillet at this temperature with the lid closed. So I'm going to seal it on both sides for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'm going to close it up, and I'm going to keep testing it. I like my fillet medium rare to rare. Let's move that out of the rain.
It's very wet. Yeah, we're not having a good weather day in Sydney, I must say.
I think we'll get it. So depending on how you look to cook your fillet, if you like it more in the rare, medium rare, which I do, you don't want to go for longer than 8 to 10 minutes total from the time you seal it to leaving it in the oven, and then you're going to rest it still for 4 or 5 minutes. A lot of people want it more medium, so it's a bit longer. But I'll show you how we're going to test it.
I like it blue.
It's going to be blue.
I like it. I love it really raw
So
in
do
the
I.
middle.
I love the blood running. Me too.
No, I don't love the blood running. Really?
Well, raw.
Maybe that's
Okay,
too much.
That's blue.
Is that too much?
It's probably a bit too much.
Okay, no blood running. I've got a question for you that always happens to me. Maybe you can help me. When I make a roast eye fillet, which I actually did last Friday night, I cook it for about 25 minutes in total in a very hot pan. And I take it out and I rest it. But every time I cut it, I still get the juices coming out. Is there
Yeah.
any way of avoiding that?
Well, you should not cut it right until the last minute.
I don't.
Okay.
And I really let it sit probably for 20 minutes after it comes out.
It's going to run up. But what you can do is cut it on that plate and then take those juices and pour it over the meat. Yeah,
my mum used to have a board with a drain.
I'll show you about
around the outside, and maybe that's the answer.
That's what you need, actually.
Yeah.
You'll see ours got a little drain on there.
Okay, so Irv says, have you turned the oven temperature down?
No, it's on full steam.
The barbecue.
It's going at about 220, 230, which is a nice hot oven.
Okay. But he did turn if you're talking about the sauces on the cooktop, that he did turn them down to low. Yeah. And Denise says it's a good weather day in Canada. A good weather day in Canada is -20. Yeah. Don't complain. No, we're not complaining.
Yeah, tell Denise, I've cooked with Russell Fleischer, who lives in Toronto.
Yeah.
And we've cooked in -10s, -15, some good steak. So you can do it there. There's no excuses.
Yeah, there's no excuses with this, man. You better get out barbecuing, all of you.
Yes.
Or else, I'll get him onto you. Shelley says, what is the internal temperature
220.
in the Weber barbecue?
220.
220.
It's a Weber as well.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a gas Weber. Same thing.
220. Okay. And Louise says, do you use direct cooking throughout?
Yes, I do.
What is indirect cooking? Like
When
putting
you
it on a shelf or something?
And you don't have the flame coming in directly, and have it on
Yeah.
the side. I'll show you how we finish off the T-bone, though. We're going to stand it up on the bone. It's a big secret. So that might sound like indirect cooking because it's going to go through the frame of the cut rather than through the meat.
Yeah. Okay. Can we look at the fillet now?
Yes, come on.
Go back in the rain and show you.
For 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just going to play with it a bit. I don't want it to stick. Let's come off nicely, Elise. We're just going to do that with the fillet again. You see, I've got it going nicely there. I've got it quite flattened on there. And this T-bone's now going to get turned. So it's done that side, and we're going to go that side. It's coming.
That T-bone
looks delicious.
I just can't tell you how good this smells. Like unbelievably good. I'm
Look
so
how
happy I'm here for lunch.
around the outside, Elise.
Not that he's actually invited me for lunch, just telling you
You're
that.
having lunch with me.
Oh, it looks so good. And look at that fat on the outside. And please, please don't be tempted to cut the fat off your steaks like that, because they add flavor and
I'm going to leave you 1 minute. You stay here. I'm coming back.
All right, so here we are. He's left me in the rain. I'm going to go out of the rain, actually. Okay, so Carolyn says this class will inspire her to take the Weber out of the winter mothballs. Exactly. Everybody should now get barbecuing because summer is here. And even if you are in Canada and it is going to be -20, Gaz has just told you you've got no excuse. So I really like to barbecue, but I'm not very good at it. So it's good to get these inside tips. So please ask any questions because this guy's the master. I've eaten his food. It's really good. How long with the lid up and lid down?
Oh, sorry about that. I left it open. So it's all going to get down to the feel. Remember, don't get nervous. You're never going to stuff this up. If you're on standby, come back and have a look at it now. So I'm going to do the finger test now for you on the bistec, on the T-bone, and show you that it's still blue. Have a look at this. So, Elise, if you look here and you push down there, you do that. I'll hold it and you can test it. Just on the outside of the meat there.
There?
Yeah? Can you feel it still?
It's still.
Go to the part on the far side, and it might be a bit firmer.
Yeah.
It's starting to cook a little bit there. You can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yum.
Can I just ask the viewers, is my hair looking okay? I was just wondering because it's got rather wet here.
Yours is, but mine's not.
This is great fun. I love doing this. Our fillet piece, we've now had it down for 3 or 4 minutes. We're turning it back there. There's our same color coming through. Look at that.
And you see there's a lovely crust on the fillet, which is what you want.
Yeah.
The fillet I mean, I know I said before that the fillet is less forgiving, but it is easier to cook because it's quicker.
Absolutely. It's quicker. It's still got lots of flavor. It's always tender. You can sometimes have a hit and miss with other cuts. Sometimes you get a piece of sirloin from your butcher and it's a bit tough. Not from field to fork, but generally speaking, some meat can be a bit tougher. You always know if you're buying fillet for a dinner party or for a lunch, it's always going to be tender. It's expensive. It can cost $70, $80, $90 a kilo. You can cook it whole. You can cook it sliced. You can actually do it like we got on the barbecue, or take that exact piece, that cut of about 2 inches thick, and do it in a nice hot pan both sides, and then put that pan in the oven. That's how the chefs do it in restaurants. They seal it again, set them on the barbecue, 2 or 3 minutes each side, a nice hot pan. Then they take that pan, a steel pan, put that in your oven for 8 to 10 minutes, and you've got a beautiful medium rare fillet. And that's how a lot of restaurants do it. This is really traditional style fillet being cooked on the barbecue. I can cook meat at any time if the weather's not good, particularly in the winter time, on the stove. And I love to use the stove top. That's a pan or a grill, and you can always seal it. That's the trick, seal it. And you can always use the oven temperature of about 180 and 190. And as a rule of thumb, 8 to 10 minutes will give you medium rare once it's in.
I wish you could all smell this. I always joke that they should make a perfume that smells like barbecue, because every time someone smells barbecue, they go, "Oh my God."
It is.
Imagine if you wore that, and everywhere you went, they went, "Oh my God."
But that's why men love to stand at the barbecue. I don't know what it is. I think they're attracted to the smell.
Yeah.
So maybe if women wore it, can you imagine?
Imagine that. I know. So I'm thinking of marketing a barbecue perfume.
Brilliant.
Or maybe the men should wear it.
Then the men will be attracted to the men.
Which is also fine.
Nothing wrong with it.
Okay, so Estelle says she likes her meat very well done.
That's okay, Estelle.
that's
we're
okay.
all individuals.
We're all different.
We're all human. We can all have it any way you want.
So it's actually good for you because you can't really ruin meat then.
You can't.
You can just cook it.
But what we would do then, we would keep that fillet. We'd actually take that fillet. We'd have cut it in half again before we cooked it, and cook it in 2 pieces. And that way we could get both sides well done. Very hard to do on the big bistecca. You have to leave it in there by moving the side burners off and letting it roast in there for a good 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so David,
going to check our meat? Yeah,
David has asked, should the meat, shall I say this in a South African accent because he has a South African word in there, should the meat be at room temperature before putting it on the braai?
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely.
Is it braai or braai?
Braai.
Braai.
Braai. Yeah, you know, before you dance, you're sitting down, and then you dance, and then you sit down again. It's the same with meat. Before it dances, we've got to get it to sit down. Then she dances, and then it sits down again to rest. Rest before.
It's a good analogy. I like it.
Put it on, dance, and then rest again.
Yeah. And room temperature, always. Okay, somebody asked the weight of the eye fillet. That one.
Oh, yeah. Our fillet, 300 grams, which is a big piece of our fillet. Traditionally, you get 250, 220 from the butcher. Ask for 300 grams. You want a big piece, or if you're hungry. And the bistec is 2 kilo.
That one. And that'd feed, in my family, that'd probably feed 2.
2. Maybe
what
3.
do you think? 2?
Yeah, probably 2 to 3.
2 of your boys would demolish that.
Oh, they would, absolutely, because there's a lot of bone on it.
Yeah. Oh, this weather's really.
I'm just going to turn the cream down on the side.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? So how long do you rest the meat before serving? Actually, there's a rule.
At least 5 minutes, Lisa.
Gaz says at least 5 minutes, but it's actually supposed to be half the cooking time. So if you roast a roast for 40 minutes, you're supposed to rest it for 20. Resting's really, really important because if you take meat out of the barbecue now and we cut it straight away, all the juices will come out and you really need to rest it. All right, we've got to go back. I answered the resting question, but I said that the rule is half the cooking time, but perhaps you're not as particular as that.
That's quite long, but you can do that. Yeah. Let's just have a look how we do here. So our T-bone's getting some really nice color on that. It's going to give a bit more color on that side. And our fillet's looking gorgeous. We're going to do the our fillet on the side for a while, Lisa, just like that. And I'm going to do the other side. We're going to go inside now. We're going to just have a look at our sauces.
They look great. They look great. They look really good. All right, let's go inside and look at the sauces out of the rain.
Always remember to clean your barbecue and then you won't get lots of flames.
Oh, let's talk about cleaning barbecues because I'm not very good at that. Can you tell me how you do that?
I do. I mean, Weber's really easy to clean, Lisa, because there's a drip tray underneath. And all the fat comes off the meat and sits on the drip tray. So when the flames come up, they're from the fat that's gone cold and coagulated on the bottom, and it's caught alight. So once a week, once every 2 weeks, just get that drip tray out and clean it. Don't worry about the grills. They get cooked automatically. They get cleaned automatically.
What do we do about the grills? What about oiling the grills before or anything like that? Do you do that? My grill goes rusty. Outside.
Maybe you haven't got stainless steel, or maybe you haven't got a...
No, I don't. I've got iron or whatever.
Okay, well, the iron would rust. That you need olive oil on it and clean it before you get it. Yeah.
All right. Will the meat still be hot after resting, says Suzanne?
Yes, depending, you're not going to put it in the fridge. You're going to put it in a room which is at 20 degrees, and it'll take probably 10 minutes to get down to real room temperature, and that's when you'll eat it. That's what you're looking for that meat to get. It's almost at room temperature. Remember, it's coming off at about 55, 56. We wanted to get a room temperature, 20. We wanted to sit. I wouldn't go as long as Lisa, but then we're all different. I think 5 to 10 minutes is maximum.
But it's interesting when you think about it, like when we come here for lunch, for example, you say he says he doesn't rest it for that long, but actually by the time it's off the barbecue and on the table, and by the time everyone eats it, it's probably had a good at least 15 minutes. And someone has asked, Do you put foil on or cover or
Only whole cuts.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah, go.
If I've got a whole fillet, Lisa,
Yeah.
I'll cover that with foil.
But not tightly, just
No,
loosely.
just and a leg of lamb or a deboned shoulder, then I'll cover that. But that's going to come off very short.
Yeah. So cover it loosely when you're doing a whole thing, and when you're doing a steak or something, just leave it sitting there.
Do you want to come back with me? We've got to go check your meat. I know it's. Or do you want to stay here, Lisa?
No, I'm happy. Let's have a look at the sauces though. Okay. Oh, look. No, we'll come back for this.
We'll come back. We'll come back for us. Let's go for a week and walk together. It's lovely to see you all there. Lisa and I are getting a lot of exercise there, so we can have that glass of wine, and we'll be back. And
just looking at the television,
yeah,
see if there's any election news.
Well, still going. Huh?
Still going. Amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, well, it's an interesting question whether the meat will be hot, because I just want to say one thing. Everyone, I think hot food when you're entertaining friends is overrated, and not everything has to be boiling hot, especially meat and chicken and fish.
Lisa, can you get a shot of this? Look how delicious. I've just turned it a couple of times, starting to get that real crust on the outside. Fat's coagulating around the outside. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It's delicious. That fillet's looking good. I've turned it on the other side. I had it on that side. Now I'm doing it on the side. Have a look at that.
Looks amazing. Smells amazing. That sizzling fat. It's just something else. Don't you all wish you were here with us? Yeah, I wish you were too, actually. It would be fun. We could have a Dinero barbecue party.
We should one day. So let's just have a feel of that, Lisa. I think, for me, that's nice and rare.
Okay.
I'm now going to turn
I'm trusting you.
I'm going to do that for them, let it sit for a little bit. And that's like a real roast. I'm going to give it 3 or 4 minutes and she's going to come off.
And remember, when you're cooking a few of them, you can sort of line them up next to each other and they'll just stand up. Looks beautiful. All right. Back inside?
Yeah, let's go back inside. I'll come and fetch both pieces in 2 minutes. We're done.
Okay. When you tent it, aren't you steaming and locking in its steam? You mean when you cover it after resting, Denise? Yeah, but you're not.
Not tight,
it's not tight at all. It's really quite loose.
Lisa, is it okay if we have a glass of wine now? Because I can feel I'm salivating already.
What do we think? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to go yes on that one. Let's go over to the stove and see how these sauces are going. Okay.
Okay, so the sauces. Let's just get this over here. Oh, one can go in there. Yeah. Okay, so we've reduced down our pepper sauce. Now, what I'm going to do is I've turned it back, turn the flame back on. You can see how it's reduced down. I'll show the viewers there.
Yeah. Can you see how good that looks?
Can you see how good that looks? That's all reduced right down. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more cream to it. And it's going to come up again. Have a look at that. Just a touch more cream.
Can you make your sauces ahead?
Yes, this is. I don't have to touch this. This is going to come up to the boil. I'm going to turn it off and it's done. Look how delicious. Oh, and then our mushroom sauce is still reducing down. A bit more for the mushroom sauce. And we're going to have both sauces actually.
And do you season?
We're going to season just before we serve them. And they'll be ready to serve. Now I'm going to go and grab that meat and we're going to let it rest. Because we're getting close to eating. Now, are you hungry? It's going to be very delicious.
Absolutely. Always hungry. Never not hungry.
So at least we're going to set up our little station over here.
Okay. Are we going to, I think we'll do it, go back to where we started, if that's okay. So I'm going to just put you over here. Sorry, everyone, for schlepping you around all day like this. I hope you can deal with this. Okay. So we're going back to where we started. And
we've got our mayonnaise, we've got some lemon, we've got our cutting board, we've got that for our garnish. We're going to get a couple of plates here.
Most importantly, I've got the wine glasses. Please continue to ask questions. We would love to answer, and Gaz would be happy to answer absolutely anything you want to ask. Grab the wine.
I will be back with the 2 meats. I'm going to go fetch them now for barbecue. Don't go anywhere. Lisa, please pour the wine. I'll be back.
Okay, at least I've got a job. Huh? How about that? So Denise says she doesn't agree with the tenting concept. Do you mean resting the food with a cover on it? Is that what you're not agreeing with? Can you just explain to me, and we'll try to get an answer for you. We're definitely not steaming it. We are just lightly covering whatever's come out of the oven just to let it sit. Okay, so there's our wine. I really do wish you were all here. It would be very nice if we could have a little Dinero barbecue. Wouldn't that be great? We could, but we would be restricted to 20 people. Here comes the meat. Here comes Gaz with the meat. It looks amazing. All right.
It's going to be a little bit rare for everybody, but that's how we have to eat it. That's how you make it delicious. What we're going to do, we're going to pick this T-bone up. Just want to take it in nice and close. It's a little bit hot on the bone. But have a look how it's crusted all the way through. Can you see that? Beautiful. Look at the fat, how beautiful it's looking. That's a spectacular piece of T-bone. I'm going to set it down there for a while. So that's the good side. I'm going to pick up our fillet, and the fillet's exactly the same. It's nice and ready, so feel that. The juice is going to start running now, you can see.
Yep.
There's our fillet. See the juice is running off it. We don't want to overcook that. Just going to let those both sit there. Now, who's got a stopwatch? I'm saying 4 to 5 minutes. I'm not covering it, just leaving it. It's quite a nice cool breeze coming in. They're going to come down to temperature very quickly. We're going to keep that for us. It's delicious. And we've just got a mushroom sauce here. Our mushroom sauce is starting to really come together here.
Yep.
And our pepper sauce is looking delicious. Now, all we want to do is cook them enough so they're nice and thick, so they stick to the meat. They don't run off like a jus.
So we're really cooking down the cream, and it's going to be really reduced in a thick sauce. Somebody asked where they can watch this video. Just go to the Danera website, danera.org.au, and all the videos, all the cooking sessions are recorded and there. Okay, so Sheila says, how do you then not have cold food? You just don't, because there's so much heat retained in the meat that it just stays warm. It's sealed, it's lovely.
Sealed.
And you don't need to have it mouth burning hot. Like, you just don't need to eat it like that. You can hardly taste it when it's that hot anyway.
I'm going to season up the sauce.
So we're seasoning the sauces now, salt and pepper.
Black pepper to both.
So remember, in these sauces, we just started with butter in both, green peppercorns, mushrooms, cooked them off, added cream, cooked them down, and now he's seasoning. And he did add some more cream. Okay, so that answers that question. How do you barbecue with approximately 2 kilo fillet if some guests want well done?
So you keep the pointy on, keep the pointy end on. So the fillet's got a pointy end and a mignon. It's fillet mignon, which is the end, which is the head part. It's a big thick piece. That'll always stay nice and blue. And as it thins down to the tail you leave on for a little bit longer, or you can just, it'll cook a shorter time because it's a thinner piece of meat. Or another trick is cut the meat in half. Put one on for a little bit longer, and there you go.
That's what I do. I would cook it in 2 pieces. If half my family want it blue and half want it medium to well, I'll do 2 pieces and take one out earlier.
Lisa, how's that wine? Let's just taste this wine now.
Cheers.
So, I don't know, how long have we been going? Is it 11 o'clock yet? What's it?
It's 11:42.
So we've got 42 minutes.
I just want to make a little l'chaim, a cheers to Gaz, to say thank you. We're not ending. I just want to say it because we've got the wine. Thank you for your time in doing this. He's volunteering all his time. He's supplying all the meat from field to fork.
Absolutely love
and the amazing company for nothing for Danera. So thank you.
Cheers, and cheers to everybody out there. Be safe. I'm nearly ready to eat. How about you?
It's a lovely time to drink wine.
It's beautiful. It's morning.
And it's a very nice, mellow red wine. Okay. Any more questions? Please feel free to ask. Handing over to the man who's going to slice the meat.
We're going to just take our sauces off. Get 2 bowls, Lisa.
Sauces look delicious. This béarnaise also looks very good. Just give you a look at that. Buttery goodness. Okay.
The reason I'm doing this is because Paula will be very upset if I don't use her beautiful dishes and show people how she likes to present things.
Yeah, this is true. Paula is the most beautiful, makes the most beautiful tables you have ever seen. Flowers and candles and paper. She's very good at it. So this mushroom sauce looks really good, and it's just button mushrooms and cream and butter. It's fantastic. Can you just give a quick run through if people don't want to use cream and butter for with the steak, if they want the mushroom sauce?
I would have taken the mushrooms or the peppercorns, and I would have just seared them in a little bit of olive oil. If not olive oil, vegetable oil, whatever your preference is. Once the mushrooms are cooked through nice and soft and translucent, you would just add a beef stock or a chicken stock or a vegetable stock. Best to do beef stock, obviously, with beef, and just let that reduce down. If you want to thicken it up a little bit, once you've got the mushrooms translucent in that oil, add a little bit of flour, and then add the stock, and then you'll have a nice thick sauce. So that's, you're making a roux. And the same with your peppercorns. Get the peppercorns going in the oil, dust a bit of flour, and then add the stock and stir and whisk, and you'll have that in the boat. That's beautiful consistency.
It's beautiful. You know, I never knew that peppercorn sauce was made with green peppercorns.
Oh yeah, very traditional. France.
I've never eaten peppercorn sauce actually. It's not my thing,
Taste
but
it.
I'm very excited.
Okay, so
Really
let's start
anything
off.
with cream is delicious.
Let's start off with this beautiful T-bone over here. So what we're going to do, there's a bone running up the middle here. You can see it over there, and then it runs through the bottom. We're going to come down through the sirloin. We're going to cut through there. We're going to cut the fillet off, Lisa. It's really easy to do.
That's a good knife.
Very good knife. I'm going to give it a bit of a sharpen.
Oh, that looks unbelievably good.
It doesn't get any better. That's when you go to heaven and you've been a good boy or a good girl, you get that.
That is absolutely beautifully cooked.
Your bone's going to be beautiful.
It's just so,
aren't you salivating?
it's so well charred on the outside, and it's so dark and crusty on the outside, and that fat is so well cooked, and the inside is just rare and beautiful and soft. It's perfect.
Now,
and just for the people that are worried about, you know, it's very warm still, and it's been sitting here. It's been off the heat for a good 10 minutes.
I'm going to let that sit for 1 minute. So I've got a little surprise for all of you in the oven. Give me 2 seconds.
Is it a surprise for them, or is it really a surprise for me? Yeah.
We do need a side. So what we've got here, and I love this. I've got very good friends. One of them is David Lazarus, who makes a beautiful baked potato. That is an exceptional potato that's been roasted in the oven, dry, baked for about 40 minutes. Got a nice.
I'm just going to come around just to entertain you for a minute. I want to just listen to this sound, okay, of this potato crust.
Oh,
can you hear? It's like fully crusty.
That's the brushed potato with all the soil on it. You come home, you wash that off, you leave it wet, goes in the oven at 180 for about 45 minutes. And then we're going to put that on the plate.
And no work at all for this. Yeah. Like nothing except washing the potato.
And look at this, Lisa. We're just going to do that. We're going to cut it that way once and that way. And then I'm going to get up underneath it and I'm just going to push up those edges like that.
Somebody's asked what brand knife you have.
Victorinox.
There's this one.
Yeah. This is Victorinox, but my other ones, I've got some beautiful French ones as well. Okay, and we've got here, Lisa, 2 really nice things to go with it. You can choose what you want. We've got a sour cream and we've got a cottage cheese with chives in it. So those are for potatoes. We'll come back to those two because now we're going to do the meat.
So Robin says, your bistecca looks as good as our last one in Montepulciano. Bravo.
Oh, bravo.
I agree.
Bravo.
Thank you for that, Robin.
Now it's important just before you cut the bistecca that you have a civil, right? Drink to laugh. Salute.
Salute.
Now I'm going to finish this off like we do it in a restaurant because I think it's important. We're taking the knife across the face of the sirloin. So again, we're sitting upright on the meat, put it down flat. Don't cut it on the long side. Cut it on the short side. And cut it about a ½ inch thick.
I'm shaking my head because it's unbelievable to see this live, I have to say.
And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fan 3 pieces on the one plate. And maybe one more because it's so delicious.
But you could really just slice it on a board and serve it on a
absolutely.
board, which would be lovely as well.
Yes, but I want to plate these up for everybody to show how they happen. So what we'll do with the rest of it is exactly what Lisa wants me to do, and I should have done because she's the boss. We're just going to slice this up and leave that on the board there. And we're going to move that to the side. Remember, that's the sirloin piece. Both will be absolutely delicious. This is the fillet side. Oh, you see how the knife went through there? Look at that.
Beautiful.
When you're salivating, because you can't even hold that.
So good. Oh, that is beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Are you all salivating at home? I want to know. Do all of you wish that you were having meat for lunch?
This is our fillet that we did separately. Now, traditionally, we won't cut that. We're just going to put that on the plate, and I'll show you why. All the blood's going to run out. So we're going to do that. And traditionally, on this particular plate, we're just going to do some béarnaise. This is my favorite. Just through the middle of the steak, just let it sit.
Lift this up because I can't see it.
And that's how you'd get it served in any of the great restaurants of the world. And I'll be back in 1 second. A piece of beautiful tarragon over the top from the garden. We'll finish that off here.
He's running to the garden and left me with the steak. So we've got the beautiful eye fillet, the béarnaise sauce, which is starting to drip down, which is just lovely. The oven roasted potato that's been roasted with nothing, just a dirty potato that's been washed and baked.
Look at that.
Can you remind me the temperature and the time of this
180, 45 minutes. A dollop of sour cream over the top, butter if you want, a little bit of black pepper to go. And Lisa, that could be served anywhere in the world.
Love it. Look at that. Absolute perfection. Tanisha says she's going to take a steak out now for dinner. Yeah, salivating.
All right, so here we've got this beautiful bistecca. Now, I wouldn't add any of these sauces on it. I want to go taste the meat on its own. I'm going to add a little bit of my salt. Lisa, we're going to try this together.
You know which bit I've got my eye on?
You can have that. Would
This
you like some
little-
salt on
this
that?
little fatty bit. It's terrible.
You can have lemon on it. You can have olive oil on it.
Yeah. Looks just so good. So good.
Let's try, Lisa. I'm going to have this piece here. This.
No words.
No words. Oh,
It's
all
just
the
so pure in that it's just the meat, not even any oil, just meat and salt and pepper
and it
and
tears. It's
heat
soft in your mouth.
and flame. And then that bone, for those of you who like to have the bone, honestly, there is nothing better than this bone. Of course, I'm not going to eat it now because that would be very unprofessional.
No, it's not. Have a little bite. Show me what.
So good. No, I'm not. All right, I will.
Have a little bite. Oh, yeah, man. Just salt and pepper.
There's nothing better in the whole
I don't think
world.
it needs the lemon. I don't think it needs the olive oil. It's got all its own flavors, that particular piece.
Who else loves the bone? That's the best part, actually. What? Can you finish the show? I'm going to just stand and eat this.
Look,
That's so good.
keep up this De Niro thing. I love it. I'm back next week with chicken. Aren't we?
So good. Yeah, yeah.
Chicken next week's interesting because Lisa's quite bossy. I wanted to do chicken today. She wanted to split it. But I'd like to find out from all of you out there, how do you want your chicken? We're going to do marinated breast and then grilled on the barbecue. That is honestly so easy and the most delicious thing you could ever serve. We can actually do a tandoori chicken breast or a tandoori Mary lamb. We can do Portuguese baby chickens.
I want him to do his Portuguese baby chickens with the peri-peri sauce because that is the thing that legends have made.
But we're going to add the other two. So I wanted to
Okay.
show people, because for a dinner party, if you've got people coming and you want to do some beautiful thighs in a tandoori with some lemon
Yeah,
and
I'd
some
like
mint
that. I
sauce,
would like that.
you've seen it here. We do it. We do banana leaves. What a wonderful entree or main course. So we'll do some tandoori next week, some marinated breast, but the big one will be.
Candy wants some butterfly chicken. Well, your baby chickens
It's
are
butterfly.
butterflied, so we're going to do that. So I just want to firstly just remind you. So next Thursday at 11, I will be here. It'll hopefully be beautiful and sunny, and we can spend the day outside by the barbecue.
Just try this.
11 a.m. next week for Cooking with Gaz Part 2. We're doing chicken. The other thing I want to announce is that there's a new event we're about to put up on Dinera. Ilan Kidron and I, we've been doing these cabaret and creme brulee and all these food and music events together. We've got a new one that's coming, and wait for it, Thursday, the 26th of November at 11 a.m. It is going to be Mrs. Maisel and the Dinera Delicatessen.
Wow.
That's all I'll say. 11 a.m. on the 26th. The link is not up yet, but it will be. So watch out for your Dinera newsletter and all the Dinera social media.
Lisa, can you just do me a favor?
Yes, I
Try
will.
that
I
food.
will. I just want to also thank you, Gaz. Well, let
Pleasure.
me eat this first because I'm going to report to all of you what I think of this steak with the Béarnaise sauce because, I do love it myself and I feel
It's not here for you?
it is nice and rare. Could be a bit rarer for me,
Okay.
to be honest, but you
Um,
wanted to cook it medium rare today.
yeah,
You
yeah.
did say that. But it's 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Lisa. She's good. I love her. You know that. If we were married together, we'd probably be 40 pounds heavy each and still married.
And we spend our days and nights
Just
just
eating and
eating.
drinking.
Well, not so bad,
Not
probably.
so bad.
So thank you guys for your time.
Pleasure,
I
Lisa.
can't tell you how much I appreciate it, how much Dinera appreciates it.
Loved it. See you next week, everybody.
And remember, everybody, check out the dinera.org.au website for what's coming up. There's so much, so much.
Cheers.
Thank you all.
Be safe.
Happy cooking and enjoy the barbecue season. See you next week, guys.
All right. See you, Lisa.